You know, after that Direct, I think I'm gonna need a bigger game room. The Nintendo Switch 2 has so many games coming to it that I can make this video and let you know about 70 games coming to Nintendo Switch. All we could do a couple months ago was speculate. But as of that Direct right there are 70 confirmed games coming to the Switch. And most of them are certified bangers. I cannot believe I'm actually going to do a video about upcoming Switch games and actually have somewhat of a date for Silksong and Metroid, and both of them are this year. We're here. We're at the start of doing this all over again with a new console, and I couldn't be more excited. Like, comment, subscribe, let's go. Obviously, that one back there that's playing on the screen, wow, what good timing, is the main crowning jewel, Mario Kart World. It's $80. I know. Believe me, I know. Let's just keep ignoring it, right? Like my therapist says, bottle it up, store it up, shake it a bit, then put it down and never look at it again. This is the latest Mario Kart, and it's open world, hence the world portion of the title. Every track in this game is connected seamlessly in an open world, meaning you can drive to any of them, you can free roam around, and when you're doing races in the traditional 4-course races, you don't just get teleported to the next track, you actually have to race to it yourself. Easily gonna be the game I sink the most time into day one. Okay, from here, shut those precious little lips, Wooderson. I gotta tell these people about something. Mother's Day. You get her anything yet? I know you're panicking right now because you've realized, oh my God, it's almost Mother's Day. What am I gonna do? Let me tell you. Raycon. Yeah, that's right. It's not just for the buffed boys and girlies to take to the gym and run on the treadmill with because they will not fall out of your ears no matter how much you shake your head. It could also be for your mom. You know, to sit back, relax, recharge. They have active noise canceling now. Your mom doesn't want to hear you whining on and on and on. She's had enough of that for like 30 years now. She wants some peace and quiet. She wants Raycon. And don't worry, she's not gonna bother you for all the Bluetooth help and tech fixes and the get it, blah, blah. With the charging carry case, they have 32 hours of battery life and 8 hours of playtime. And then once you put it back into this handy little charge case, charges it back up again for even more. And if they do die, don't worry, there's a quick charge function. In just 10 minutes, they'll charge 90 minutes of playtime. You know how actual handy that is when I get to the gym and I realize mine are dead? I just slap them on charge for 10 minutes and then they get me through the whole rest of the workout. That's insane. Best part is you won't break the bank. These premium earbuds start at just half the price of other premium earbuds in the marketplace, and they come in a wide range of fun colors. I got black, I got blue, I got these galaxy cases and stonewashed to add personality and pizzazz. Well, let's say you buy these for your old mummy and she's like, I don't want them. She won't. But imagine she does. Well, then you can have them. But if you already have a pair, there's a 30-day money-back guarantee, baby. So no matter what, you're perfectly fine. They even got wireless charging and they're weatherproof. Look, I know you already sold, so go to buyraycon.com/beatemups to get 20% off site-wide. All jokes aside, not that I've been joking, I really do like my Raycons. I've been using them for the last 5 years that I've been working with Raycon. I keep one pair in my car and one at home so that I always have them when I go to the gym or when I go for a walk. This is by far the best one. The active noise canceling makes it so much better at the gym. I hate gym music. All right, I'm gonna get you back to the video, but I wanna tell you a little secret about it. Watch out, in 2 minutes and 49 seconds from now, something crazy happens on the bottom left corner of the screen. You won't believe it. All right. Okay, from here, we're gonna go just alphabetically to make this easier. Arcade Archives 2 Ridge Racer. It's a classic PlayStation racing game, Ridge Racer. It returns on the Switch 2, fully restored from its original 1993 launch. Then we have Bravely Default Flying Fairy HD Remaster, which is a remaster of the first Bravely Default that a lot of people say is the best one, and it's really the only one I've ever enjoyed. This remaster is only $40. But it is one of the weird game key cart game things for physical, where the actual cartridge doesn't have the game on it and it just proxies a download. So weigh that into the equation, I guess, when you go to buy it. Then we have Civ 7. This is a $60 game. It's an RTS, a real-time strategy game. Civilization 6 is already on Switch, and notoriously it runs pretty sloppy, to say the least. So Civ 7 utilizing the full power of the Switch is cool, and also the mouse mode. I made a video about this, but there are a lot of games that could utilize the mouse mode if they came to the Switch, and Civ 7 is doing just that. Cyberpunk 2077 Ultimate Edition. I have a storied history with this game. I was very much anticipating it for the 13 years of development that it had, and then it was not the game I wanted. I realized the developers did lie about a lot, and I made a video about that accidentally did pretty well for me at the time. And people have always said I need to replay it because it tried to fix a lot of my issues, and it added a lot of DLC and extra content, and this version has it all. That's actually really impressive as well, because even the PlayStation 4 version didn't have the extra DLC that got released because it couldn't handle it, which is the first in this video, but one of many signs that the Switch 2 could actually be, and most likely is, more powerful than a PlayStation 4. Deltarune, brought to you by Toby Fox, the creator of Undertale. I don't really know what the whole story is here, but Deltarune has been released in multiple chapters, and now it was revealed at that Switch 2 Direct that more chapters, or the rest of the chapters, or something, are coming to Switch on launch day for the Switch, which is huge for Deltarune fans. I still haven't played it because I don't like playing things in chapters. I like when it's all out, so I'll finally get to play it. For you guys that have been around since the Switch 1 launch, a lot of things on this list are going to be kind of funny, how it's just history repeating itself, and this is the first one, Fast Fusion. Fast Fusion is a sequel to Fast RMX, and yeah, that was a Switch launch title. In fact, at the time, it was specifically cool because it was the first 1080p 60 frames game on the Switch. So to get the sequel day one on Switch 2, yeah, it just feels like full circle, and I wonder if they're gonna push it and be the first game to do like 4K 120 frames on the Switch. That would be cool. Then just Fortnite. That's literally a launch title for Switch, Fortnite. I don't really know how that's a launch title because it's already on Switch. So you would think, yeah, it's backwards compatible, live service. You would just keep playing. But no, it's actually being touted as a launch title. So I wonder if it's a Switch 2 edition or if we're gonna get anything for, but I don't know why it's technically a launch title, but it is. Hitman World of Assassination. This is the signature edition. I don't really know what this has over any other editions or how it's different to Hitman 3. But if you haven't played a Hitman game, this is definitely a new port to the Switch family of systems that probably couldn't have ran on the Switch 1. They're very stealth-focused video games that don't take themselves too seriously. They're quite goofy and wacky and quite hilarious to play, actually. Hogwarts Legacy. I know there's a lot of controversy around this title and the whole Harry Potter IP, but this is one I have my eye on for a direct comparison between Switch 1 and Switch 2. It's one of the newer, more ambitious, very ambitious ports to Switch 1 that it just didn't look great and did not run very well and had very long load times. We already have people doing comparisons online between the new Switch 2 trailer and the old game, and it's night and day difference. I even got to play the new game at that Switch 2 experience, and I just remember when I got to that open world shot and I could see all the trees out into the distance, I was pretty blown away still that this is happening on a Nintendo console. It's worth noting that the Switch 2 isn't out yet. A lot of places like Digital Foundry are doing breakdowns and comparing the two visually to see how much power they think the Switch 2 has, and that's what they're good at, so I do trust them, but at the same time, it's all bit compressed YouTube videos. There's no real way of knowing what this console can do until we have this console. And if you ask me, some of the comparisons we'll see coming up in this video, I honestly think it can do a lot more than what people realize. In fact, some other great examples of that are launching day one on Switch would be Yakuza 0 and Street Fighter 6. Both of these games, side-by-side comparisons with PlayStation 4 and PlayStation 5, it's pretty clear to see that the Switch 2 version is more on par with the PlayStation 5 version and looks almost identical in the case of Yakuza from PlayStation 5 to Nintendo Switch 2. Next, we have Kunitsu-Gami Path of Goddess. This is an action samurai game that was released last July to positive reviews. It's from Capcom. It has really cool visuals. I was excited for this, and then it just came out and I forgot. Then The Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom Enhanced Editions. Oh, they're so good and they have so much controversy around them. We learned today that Breath of the Wild doesn't include the DLC. You will either have to still buy those separately, or if you've already bought them, it will be included, I believe, is what I heard. And the enhanced editions, you do have to pay $10 more for them, but you don't have to if you're a paying subscription member. There's a lot of confusing things that we're just gonna have to wait and see when this console releases. Then, because you don't have to pay for it, Nintendo Switch 2 Welcome Tour is technically a day one purchasable affordable game if you're looking to blow $10 on an instruction manual. I'm being very positive in this video. I'm trying to keep my head above the water here, but this one it still stings a little bit. If you don't know, it's a glorified instruction manual on how the Nintendo Switch 2 works and what gimmicks it has, and there's some mini games baked into it. And if you're thinking to yourself, wow, that sounds like it should come with the console. Yeah. We're also getting Nobunaga's Ambition Awakening Complete Edition. This is a 2022 remake of a 1983 Genesis turn-based strategy game. And at first I was like, that's random. But then I realized, oh, it's another game that can use the mouse. I wonder how many of these games have been waiting to come to Switch until there was a way to play it. Remember PuyoPuyo Tetris? Well, the second one is a day one release with the Switch 2, and it's got an S in it. And as far as I can tell, it's just PuyoPuyo Tetris 2, and the S must mean Switch. This game is already released, so I don't know what they're adding in for this Switch version. Rune Factory Guardians of Azuma. The Rune Factory games have a cherished cult following of fans, and I think this game, unless I'm getting it confused, is kind of a reimagining of the Rune Factory series. They've kind of gone back to the drawing board and they're trying something different, and it actually releases at the end of May, but they're also going to release it on Switch 2 on day one, and apparently for people that didn't know that was happening and they already pre-ordered it on Switch 1, they can just upgrade, apparently. Then we have Shine Post Be an Idol? Your Idol? I think this is a Japan release. It was just in the Wikipedia list. I don't know. Split Fiction. This is one of the most recently released current-gen games launching on the Switch 2. I played it recently with Kim on my PlayStation 5, and while taking the trailer and putting it side by side, it is clear the PlayStation 5 version looks nicer. It still looks very nice on the Switch, and without the direct comparison, you'd really have to have no complaints. And it's great to see an example of a current generation game just up and running on the Switch, no issue. A really good sign for a lot of things to come. Survival Kids. This game gives grounded and Animal Crossing to me. It has fishing, cooking, crafting, puzzles, a cute art style, and then you can't forget the GameCube games. On launch day, we're getting FZero GX, Soul Calibur 2, and then shockingly, Windwaker finally dropped on the console. It's the original GameCube version, not the HD remaster. And then they also teased Chibi Robo, Pokemon Coliseum, Super Mario Strikers, Pokemon XD Gala Darkness, Fire Emblem Path of Radiance, and Mario Sunshine. And also worth noting, where possible to add in online multiplayer, they do. So Soul Calibur 2 and FZero GX are both multiplayer games you can play online, which still blows my mind. That is our launch lineup of games, and I truly think we're going to be very busy those first couple of weeks. There's going to be so much to do and play. Okay, moving on from there, we have a bunch of games that are releasing in the coming months that actually have release dates right now. Starting with Raidou Remastered, The Mystery of the Soulless Army. This is a remaster of a 2006 Atlas game that is part of the Megami Tensei series. So it's not Shin Megami Tensei, it's not Persona, but it's in that family. And it's the Atlas game that we got. It's not Metaphor that we wanted, but it's the one that we got, and it does look interesting. Then, just a few weeks after this console launches, we're getting Tamagotchi Plaza. Specifically, we're getting the Switch 2 edition. I mean, you can also get it on Switch 1. This is a cross-release on both of these consoles. Then moving into July, we have Tony Hawk Pro Skater 3 and 4. The gameplay of this online looks crazy. Really clean visuals, and then what looks to be a pretty high frame rate. Then just over a month after launch, we're getting Donkey Kong Bananza. I played Donkey Kong Bananza for about 20 minutes at that Switch 2 event, and I had so much fun. The moment where I realized how cool this game is when the guy that was helping me play it told me that it's essentially a 4D sandbox. Every level is almost completely destructible, and you can go through it, you can go under it. There's secrets hidden everywhere in the levels, and it's so weirdly therapeutic to just start smashing and mulching your way through the environments. Then Shadow Labyrinth on July 18th, just a day after Donkey Kong. If you're looking for something different, this is a Pac-Man game, if you can believe it. This is like a dark and brooding Metroidvania where you play as a guy with a sword and your sidekick is Pac-Man. Something else I realized today is that Super Mario Party Jamboree plus Jamboree TV isn't coming out until this part of the video, which is July 24th. This surprised me because I thought for sure this would be a launch game. It's extra DLC for Mario Party Jamboree, a game that's already out, and this DLC uses the camera. I thought that would be the whole camera game on launch day, would be Mario Party Jamboree. So I don't know what Nintendo think we're gonna do with that camera for the first 2 months. I just thought this would be a launch game. Then No Sleep for Kaname, date from AI, the Somnium Files. Very short title for that one. That's July 25th. And I think it's a graphic adventure style novel game. And I also don't think we've seen Switch 2 gameplay yet. I missed that we were getting Wild Hearts S coming to the Switch. And I think it's because it was in that sizzle reel of games in the Switch 2 Direct. And it was literally this long. You blink and you miss it. This is a 2023 action role-playing game where you hunt massive monsters. It kind of reminds me of Monster Hunter. The gameplay posted online for Switch 2. I don't know what's happening here. I don't know if this is official. It looks a little bit rough. I gotta be honest. But the little bit in the Direct didn't look that bad. So we're gonna have to wait and see. Story of Seasons Grand Bazaar. This game is a remake of Harvest Moon from the DS, which received kind of average reviews back in the day, but maybe they can do something about that now with this remake to make it a little bit better. One of my favorite Switch 1 games is getting an enhanced edition, Kirby and the Forgotten Land, and it also includes new DLC, a whole new mission called StarCrossed World. Just like Jamboree, this is another kind of confusing one where it's the Switch 2 enhanced version, which costs $10 more to get the 4K 60 fully enhanced of it all, and then another $10 to get the extra mission, the StarCrossed Worlds. And I believe if you're asking me right now, can I buy them separately? If I don't want the DLC or I don't want the 4K, can I get one or the other? And I think the answer is no. I think it's $20 more total for both of these, and you just gotta get the whole thing. Daemon X Machina Titanic Scion? I didn't like the first Daemon X Machina. It was very nothing for me. I know some people liked it, had a little cult following, so I was very surprised to see a sequel to this game that was before only on Switch 2 and PC. This new one looks awesome. It looks like the old one, but souped up, fast-paced action, mech battles. It looks way more ambitious and way better quality than last time. I'm actually interested now. So that's a lot of games with dates that we're getting this year. We're already up to like 40 games that we know about with dates coming in 2025. But what if I told you there's even more coming in 2025? Some of the biggest announced titles are in this section of the video. Starting with Borderlands 4. And if they're really utilizing the hardware, we might be able to get this game running at 60 frames pretty easily. And of course, it's another game that would be great to use the mouse with. Then Dragon Drive is set for summer. This is the game you probably saw in the Direct. The very ugly looking game that actually looks really unique and interesting at its core gameplay. I saw a bunch of people playing this one at that Switch 2 event, and they seem to be having a lot of fun. I think this is one of those games that's going to be really fun to play, but no one's going to give it a chance. Oh, then a big one. Elden Ring Tarnished Edition. The Breath of the Wild inspired Dark Souls game Elden Ring is not a launch day title, but it is coming to the console sometime in 2025. Even just looking at the PlayStation 5 version, there are some screenshots where I fully believe you ask most people to tell them apart without looking at them side by side, they wouldn't be able to. I am very impressed by the way this port looks. First Squadron Phoenix. Never heard of this until I was putting together the video. It's like an indie take on Star Fox. More people should know about this. Another indie game, Goodnight Universe. You play as a baby discovering that they have psychic powers. I think this game is kind of like the Walking Dead Telltale games. Hades 2 is not only launching on the console, but it's going to be a console exclusive. Hades 1 did very well on Switch 1, so this just makes a lot of sense. Unbelievably, not even the one last thing in this video because I'm going alphabetically, but Hollow Knight Silksong is this year. It is this year. And it was in that sizzle reel. It was so random. It was just for a split second. I don't know if Nintendo realized how excited we are for this game. Kept that game so quiet and so secret for like 3 years to be in a sizzle reel? Very excited. Then in winter at some point, we're getting a brand new Zelda game, Hyrule Warriors Age of Imprisonment. This is just like Age of Calamity, which was a prequel to Breath of the Wild, except this one is a prequel to Tears of the Kingdom, and it's set in the Dynasty Warriors realm of games, where there's just hundreds of enemies on the screen, and you have loads of different characters that you can play as, and just hack and slash all over these hordes of enemies. It's insanely satisfying gameplay, really fun. For the first time in 20 years, years, we're getting a new Kirby AirRiders game, to the disappointment of Smash fans everywhere. And if I can just pull the brake on you for a second, anyone that might be disappointed, this man has bent over backwards for us for decades making Smash Brothers games. Doesn't he deserve just a minute to make a Kirby game that he likes? .emu is making a new old school beat 'em up game using Marvel characters, Cosmic Invasion. Remember, we are going alphabetically, and still, even doing that, we're getting banger after banger. And next is Metroid Prime 4. I'm not even saving it to the end of the video. This game docked. You can either get 4K 60 or 1080p 120 frames. And even in handheld, you can still get some pretty good specs. Like, this is crazy. I played this at the Switch 2 event. I keep saying that. In mouse mode, and it felt insane to play a Nintendo exclusive game in frames this high. Also, just with a mouse. Like, it honestly felt really wrong. Like, in the best way, it felt really wrong. I grew up on Metroid Prime 1 on GameCube, and this, Metroid Prime 4, it actually looks like a return to the roots of Metroid. I think it's been so long that I think the series kind of needed a restart more than a reboot. So I think going back to that first style of Metroid Prime is a great idea. Mousework, I don't know what this is, but it's a game clearly that is here because it wants to use the mouse features. Pokemon ZNA Nintendo Switch 2 Edition. I don't want to talk about the windows. That is not a conversation that I'm having right now. All I'll say is the new gameplay does look a lot more smooth. This Switch 2 version does have me more excited to play the game. It's similar to Cyberpunk. If you had asked me a couple months ago if I'd want to play that again, probably not. But I'm somewhat excited to play it now just because I get to play it on the Switch 2. Professor Layton and the New World of Steam. This game was announced for Switch forever ago. I've never played one, and now I guess it's just moving over to the Switch 2. Reanimal. When I was looking at the gameplay of this one, I thought, this looks like Little Nightmares, and then I realized it's made by the guy who made Little Nightmares. So that checks out. Sonic X Shadow Generations. Just the game has been announced for Switch 2 coming this year. I don't know what that means, but it's that game again. Star Wars Outlaws. This one was really breezed past in the Switch 2 Direct, and nobody has talked about it, which makes sense because this game released fairly recently and was not received very well. So it makes sense that people just didn't really even pay attention to it. But if we can look at that trailer and the 3 different shots that we got, can we at least acknowledge that this looks phenomenal? I played this game once already. I tried it and I also didn't like it, but it's kind of the perfect just to play in handheld game when you're watching TV and doing something else and then just mindlessly grinding away on some missions. It might actually find some new life on this system. I will be picking it up here. This is how I want to try and play it. 2 Point Museum. If you've heard of 2 Point Campus or Hospital, you probably know what to expect here. And of course, it's another game that can utilize that new mouse mode. Witchbrook. It's the 4th Chucklefish developed game. Their games are known for having beautiful pixel artwork. This is a spellbinding life sim for up to 4 players where you make friends, find love, and discover a whole new world filled with wonder and charm. An early Switch 1 game I really enjoyed was Ys 8 and Ys X Proud Nordics, which is a significantly upgraded version of the base game released in 2023, is set to come out this year. And then Yooka-Laylee Replaylee. If you remember Yooka-Laylee being a spiritual successor sequel inspired by kind of game as Banjo-Kazooie, made by the same creators, it's getting a remaster, and that's what this is, and it's set for Switch sometime this year. Also, fun fact, and something that I'll forget later, so when we rewatch this in 10 years, I'll remember, this was one of the first games to get announced for the Switch 2. Like, months ago, they were like, yeah, we're gonna put it on Switch 2. I don't know if they were supposed to say that, but they did. There's even some already announced for 2026, including one of the biggest games. These ones are Enter the Gungeon 2. Enter the Gungeon was one of the first roguelike indie games on Switch 1 that completely had me addicted. Imagine Hades, but just with every kind of gun. Wacky, over-the-top, ridiculous abilities, and things to shoot with. There's a game called Starseeker Astroneer Expeditions. It's a follow-up to 2019's Astroneer Starseeker, and it'll allow you to explore uncharted world in space with friends, with the entire player base working together a common goal throughout the galaxy, all at once. Oh, that actually sounds interesting. Never heard of it. Kind of sounds like Helldivers in a way. I wonder if Helldivers will come to Switch 2. I feel like it will. And yeah, arguably a lot of people's most anticipated game from the console, and really cool to see FromSoft making an exclusive game for the Switch 2, Duskbloods. FromSoft, of course, the people that made Elden Ring, the Dark Souls games, and Bloodborne. And a lot of people think that this new Duskbloods game looks very similar in vibe to Bloodborne, except this game, I found out while making this video, is a little weird. It's a PvPvE game, player versus environment. It's focusing on the online multiplayer of it all. And while FromSoft are stressing right now, apparently publicly, that they are not leaning towards these online experiences and there is still a company focused on these single solo player adventures, this is the second kind of game like that we've seen from them now. There's a Elden Ring DLC coming that's PvPvE also, I believe. So it's something they're experimenting with. I hope that this Duskbloods game has some sort of solo progression. I would love for it to be something I can play on my own and grind out like a Souls game. But either way, I'm really looking forward to it. And if it's not like that, I mean, we are also getting Elden Ring, so. Oh, so many games. My back is starting to hurt. Where do we go from here? To be announced. There are even more games. This is actually really unbelievable. I've been recording for an hour. We're at Donkey Kong on the Direct. The Direct is about to end, starting with one of the coolest ones, I think, Final Fantasy VII Remake, reintegrate the special DLC version of this game. Zach, my editor, bring up the comparison. PlayStation 5, Nintendo Switch 2. I think this is the best representation and case of these two consoles just being on par. To the naked eye and to most people, the Switch 2 version looks pretty good. Oh, this is the part of the Direct where they didn't tell us what the price was. Oh, man. I don't want to get negative right now, but that part sucked. I'm going to run this back, if that's okay with you guys, just for the last little bit here. Really shows you how long it takes me to record these videos, huh? Bestiario, which is a turn-based combat RPG based on Spanish mythology and folklore. It's an indie game, but it's inspired by Persona. Then another game that, for me, feels like we're kind of reliving that first year of the Switch, Human Fall Flat 2. You play as like a little wacky guy that you can barely control his body and you're expected to platform around the world. You can play it with friends too, and you can mess each other up or try to help each other. It's really a good time. My Time at Evershine. It's a farming life sim RPG similar to Stardew Valley. It even had a sequel a couple years ago, My Time at Sandrock, and now we're getting another one for Switch 2 in the launch window, My Time at Evershine. These are more cult, classic, loved games, and they always get supported and backed heavily on Kickstarter, which is how they keep making them so quickly. Here's one I'm weirdly excited for, Power Wash Simulator 2. I know what it sounds like if you haven't actually played it, but Power Wash Simulator is actually a quality title because one, it's strangely fun and therapeutic to just blast away at dirt. Two, I played it the first time on a plane because I knew I'd be anxious and it legitimately calmed me down. This game is actually really good. And there's a sequel announced and it's coming to Switch too, which is great because I don't think the first one was ever on Switch. There are so many games that were announced in that Switch 2 Direct that I keep forgetting that they were announced because there was so much to keep track of. We're getting a new 007 game, and this is one that just went by so quickly. Made by IO Interactive, the same people that make the Hitman games, and this is a brand new 007 game with a brand new Bond telling his brand new origin story, something we haven't seen before. I always enjoyed a 007 game growing up, and I would ask for them for birthdays and Christmases, even though I never watched the movies. I just enjoyed the game and playing as a spy. For confirmed games, I probably should have ended on that one, but last minute I threw on the list the EA Sports games, Madden NFL and EA Sports FC, and then the NBA 2K and the WWE 2K. That's gonna be a redemption arc, hopefully, for WWE. Notoriously the worst Switch 1 port. This one is so bad. They ended up having to pull it from the eShop, and they just didn't do any more. So yeah, hopefully the next WWE 2K game on a Switch isn't like that. There are some rumored games coming to the console if you want to humor me for a second and play around with those. So this is a GameSpot article that I was double checking to make sure I didn't miss anything. And at the bottom, they have a bunch of rumored games and each one sources Nate the Hate. And Nate has been predicting some crazy things crazy accurate lately. So if he's rumoring these, I'm very inclined to believe them. The first one is Assassin's Creed Mirage. Then also Assassin's Creed Creed Shadows. I would be more willing to believe Assassin's Creed Valhalla or one of the earlier games, not the recent Shadows, considering certain parts of that game on my PlayStation 5 Pro feel like they're chugging at 30 frames, and visually it is gorgeous. If this does come to the system, I'm worried that it's gonna look pretty rough and maybe make people think that the console isn't all that, when really that is just a very ambitious port. Final Fantasy VII Rebirth, even I hinted at that in this video. That one seems pretty obvious. Microsoft Flight Simulator and Xbox's Master Chief Collection. Okay, Master Chief Collection, I've heard that rumor a lot, and getting all those Halo games on the console, I do actually believe that'll happen. That sounds sick, and I've heard a lot of rumblings about that. The Flight Simulator is surprising. I don't know why. Oh, wait, imagine playing that with gyro. See, now we're just goofing and gaffing, but that sounds awesome. Hi-Fi Rush, that one's been rumored for a while, and it's a great game. Sea of Thieves, playing Sea of Thieves handheld. Oh, and it has a microphone now, so you can actually chat while you're playing. That one makes a lot of sense, actually. Mario and Rabbids? Well, yeah. A new 3D Mario game? That one's pretty obvious. Metal Gear Solid Delta Snake Eater, the remake of Snake Eater. Rainbow Six Siege, The Division? Wait, that one they just made up. Well, then why are you saying it? Starfield's also rumored. Fallout 4 is also rumored via Insider Gaming. And Diablo 4. Okay, these were rumored by someone else. Everything up until these little rumors of what I'm counting as upcoming games, these aren't even adding to the total whatever number I put in the title. Also, games like Fallout 4, those are so easy at this point to do 4K 60 on this hardware. I wouldn't even be surprised if you could squeeze a 4K 120 frames. All right, it's pretty clear I'm excited, but if I don't shut up, my editor's gonna not be happy with me. If I did somehow miss something, which is very possible, but I tried really hard not to, leave that down below. If you're watching this in the future for some reason, if you've come back to the past, let me know which of these games ended up being really sick and which ones were terrible ports. Of course, you'll get more videos from me about the Switch 2 pretty soon. Okay, bye.